Greetings, fellow students and judges. I would first like to thank you for coming here on this presentation regarding sustainable cities and communities. My name is Nate.
Seon, Yuji, Suhyun.
Whenever we look at the city, it's like reading hopes, inspirations, aspirations, and the pride of everyone who have committed to development of the city itself. These cities shall be maintained in a sustainable manner for prosperity of next generations and our generations. Despite the needs, we mankind have been continuing to face this concern for consecutive eras, and it is indeed our time to change and create a sustainable community for all of us. Before we begin, I would first like to tell what sustainable city is. Sustainable cities and communities refer to establishment of cities and human settlements that are inclusive, safe, and resilient. There are three primary targets and focus for sustainable cities and communities. These are the infrastructure for targets and focuses. The first primary target is safe and affordable housing and sustainable public spaces, which includes women, children, elderly, and disabled. And this is also known as sustainable urbanization. Second, protect and guard the world. In other words, to protect and support for people in various situations and conditions regardless of their income or their social-political status. In this presentation, we will solely focus on environment and security in South Korea and its status quo. Our focused progress will be urban air pollution. For example, in 2014, around half the global urban population was exposed to air pollution levels at least 2.5 levels higher than the maximum standard set by World Health Organization. So why is this important? The primary factor of this importance comes from social-political connection to the Korean society. One lucid example is Korean government's Sustainable City Development Declaration and Art Summit in 1992, which leads to Presidential Declaration of 2005, code, grows advanced country while maintaining balance among economy, society, and the environment. Furthermore, it resonates integrated approach to develop sustainable city in South Korea itself. ORK incorporates the lessons drawn from its own development experience into international development cooperation in general.
Now I'm going to explain global facts and figures regarding the sustainable cities and communities. Nowadays, more than half of the world's population live in urban cities. And by 2030, that figure will have risen to 6.5 million people, which means 2/3 of all humanity will live in urban cities. Also, the rapid growth of the cities in the developing world, coupled with increasing rural to urban migration, has led to a boom in megacities. So in 1990, there were only 10 megacities with 10 million inhabitants, but by 2030, there will be about 40 megacities. With the rapid growth of the megacities, the global carbon dioxide emission will be broken down by fossil fuel and land use emission. Now I'm going to explain national facts and figures and focus more on the situations in Korea. First of all, urbanization rate in Korea has reached 91% in 2012, and 1 in 5 people now live in Seoul. For the environmental part, South Korea has ranked a low place in both renewable energy and air quality, since it was not until the 21st century when the government recognized the importance of the policy regarding the sustainable cities and environment. For the security part, crime rate in Seoul has ranked a low place, and which means it is important, which strongly indicates that Seoul is one of the safest cities in the world. Yet, according to the Ministry of Public Administration and Security, crime rate in Seoul is increasing every year. So, sustainable goal to promote safety in the city is also essential in Seoul.
The legal precedent of sustainable city development can be shown through Third National Basic Plan for Sustainable Development, which was established by consultation with 26 government ministries and agencies. And this focuses on, quote, harmonized development of the environment, society, and economy. And after this enactment, the legal procedures were followed up in South Korea and many other governments in general. Our primary goal is distinguished in two parts, government and personal goals. First, government goals include ensuring of underdeveloped communities to be engaged in developing cities. Second, increase in resilience to the disasters to the cities. Third, ensuring and monitoring waste management and air quality of the city. Now, let's look at the prime example of sinkhole and earthquake. Sinkhole happened in Seoul in 2015. Massive earthquake happened in Seoul in 2016. The problem of these two incidents is that there were no any safety measures and protocols from the government. And not only there were no measures for safety, it took nearly 8 hours for government to respond to massive natural disasters, which proves that Seoul city is no longer safe from these natural disasters. Now let's look at the personal goals. First, increase in interest in underdeveloped communities and to support them continuously. Second, youth must have equal opportunities as adults, which links to our first goal. Last but not least, to have eco-friendly activities on a daily basis and be a habit as our personal character. Now let's look at the prime example of environmental actions. Environmental actions involve ensuring and monitoring waste management and air quality of the cities. For example, monitoring carbon emission and ozone level. Furthermore, there are frequent cooperation with UNEP for monitoring of this devastating situation, which will primarily create a significance in these developments.
Children and young women and men are critical agents of change. This is a quote from the post-2015 outcome document. This emphasizes the vital role of this time that youth and our generation is responsible for.
Now here comes the question of what youth can do in implementing our cities more sustainable. There are several answers to respond to this question, but I'm going to suggest civil societal perspective first, because youth cannot be involved in constitutional procedures because of young age. In this perspective, youth can participate in variety types of campaigns, such in showing this screen, that are related to the SDGs goal number 11, which is sustainable cities and communities. Through these campaigns, youth can appeal their opinion and passions to global world about their interest in SDGs in Korean. Also, not only participating in campaigns, but also having a petition or protest also help implement better sustainable community too. Now let's move on to the individual perspective. For youth to implement sustainable cities and communities, youth can use online platforms that advocating SDGs goal number 11 actively, such as U4SC, to activate formation of sustainable cities and communities in Korea. These are the quotes from related organizations' secretariat. And also, it is crucial for youth to maintain their interest on SDGs goal number 11 through attending MUNs or forums that regarding this agenda. And TP or YMOON can be an example of this too. Lastly, forming school clubs that do some activities related to this SDGs goal would be an excellent practice for implementing the sustainable cities and communities in Korea. These are some efforts that youth can apply while implementing sustainable cities in Korea. However, these individual actions from youth might seem childish rather than civil society perspective or government perspective. However, these are best ways for youth to apply sustainable cities and communities within their ability, because complementing is the most important thing while we resolving our problem. Therefore, there would be a successful accomplishment of goal number 11, which is sustainable cities and communities in Korea, when government, civil society, and individual youth themselves are cooperate and do their best within their capabilities.
Last but not least, here are some solutions following to the goals we have set. in order to implement the Sustainable Development Goal number 11 to the community. Firstly, there are global aspects of solutions to find the way throughout the goal. Identifying campaigns and and raising awareness and promoting responsibility and sustainability of underdeveloped cities is a vital point. If certain underdeveloped or developing community is lacking regulation regarding to a sustainability issue, advocacy work should be acted out in order to encourage the establishment of it to the community. One of the projects that are implemented in Korea is on mural villages. Wall paintings and redecorations transformed the poor areas with high chance of crime into the famous attractions that involved tourists. As there were not enough correspondence of Korean governments to the natural disasters such as sinkholes and earthquakes, as we have explained previously, implementation of safety protocols and enactment is another crucial process towards reaching the goal. Applying tax systems on materials that harm the environment and subsidizing the eco-friendly products such as renewable energy services will encourage the firms to trade and produce fair products. Thus, this will eradicate external costs from negative productions. Providing and retaining security services is also a significant way of practicing the goal. Seoul Urban Security Policy is an example in Korea of the legislations. Secondly, personal implication which ourselves can act out is also crucial. Giving in efforts and having much interest in campaigns and activities of local and global community will eventually lead to the success of accomplishing the sustainable goals.
Now, this is SWOT analysis based on our solution that we have established. The primary strengths of our solution is that it provides a strong incentive for firms and for consumers to follow and commit to the developing plans that we have laid out. And our solution involves easy actions for individuals to make a change. The weakness of this solution is that there is a certain difficulty in the procedure of the legislation and to obtain the government assistance from the legal procedures. Our opportunity is that it eliminates the major obstacles of Korea becoming the sustainable community. Most of all, it provides equal sustainable opportunities for underdeveloped community to have equal chance of success. The biggest draft of the solution is that it involves legislation and safety protocol that may be limited and highly influenced by the City Council's decision and any political decisions. Now, as we see from this beautiful city, I as a youth have witnessed a failure of sustainable city from my previous generations, and it is a true shame. We should no longer tolerate from these conditions and take proactive measures and actions to resolve these concerns with greater individual mindset. Just like PGA have mentioned in this session, individual mindset of youth plays a pivotal role in the establishment of sustainable city and in general. Thank you for listening.